From left to right, please introduce yourselves and tell us your position in the band.
I'm Roman, vocalist.
I'm Zach, guitar.
Brian, bass.
I'm Lucian, drums.
I'm Brandon, guitar.
Give us some insight into your musical background.
Started singing for bands when I was 21, so it's been about 18 years. Started out original thrash bands, moved on to cover bands, got back into the original scene just recently.
I started playing guitar when I was about 21, and this is my first band actually.
Played bass for the last 10 years off and on with several friends. Found these guys and been doing it ever since.
I mean, I've been playing drums probably about, maybe about 15 years, off and on. I've been in a few different bands before, always all original, and this is the first one that I've really put a lot of passion and heart into. So that's where we are. I've been playing guitar about 7-8 years. This is the first band I've been in.
Who are some of your influences, musical and otherwise?
We're pretty
There's
diverse.
almost too many to mention. Yeah,
I mean, we've got 5 different, extremely different personalities in this band. I mean, we all come from different influences. I think everything from pop. I mean, there's bluegrass, old country influences. There's metal. There's prog. I mean, there's pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what makes our
Brick rock.
sound.
A lot of what? A lot of brick rock.
Yeah.
How did you come up with the name Dizzy Hollow?
Ouija board.
That's all we have to say on that.
Who started the band and how long has it been around?
You two.
Yeah, me, Brandon. Gosh, how long has it been? 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, something like that, 4 years ago. Just me and you and one other guy. And we wrote some music.
I heard one of their cuts on MySpace. I don't even know how I wound up on their page, but for the song they did called Solstice, they self-recorded, and that's when I got interested and found out they were right there in Newburgh where I was living at the time. So, one phone call or a couple messages.
When you really came in is when things really started to shoot forward, and we knew we needed some more elements, so we needed to pick up some bass and another guitar, fill things out a little bit. And it's been an evolution really.
Oh, yeah.
So
I've already gone through a couple of bass changes, one guitar change.
yeah.
So it's just a matter of finding the right element to
Yeah.
How would you describe your sound?
I hate that question.
Sounds like Dizzy Hollow.
I mean, we try without sounding cliche, it really, we like to think it doesn't really fall into a specific genre or a specific sound,
You can hear elements.
Yeah,
that
you can
weave
hear
in and
our-
out of
our
there. I mean, you can
influences.
tell we pull from influences, I think, but we're not trying to mold ourselves in any particular image or it's just what comes out is what comes out. These 5 different personalities come to the table, and
I think
mix
a
it
lot of
up.
our songs are almost genre swapping, they really change with each song. There's almost a different sound, and we still retain the core of the Dizzy Hollow sound, but
We're not scared to explore.
Yeah.
We're not going to be intimidated by genre limits.
it's not like we come up with a great song and decide, well, all the rest of the songs have to sound like this great song. We still play around with it and see what comes out.
Do you do cover tunes, original tunes, or both?
Well, we're an original band, We do have an original album with 11 cuts on it, working on a new album right now. For our live show, we do a cover of Lady Gaga, which is completely unexpected from us. We every once in a while drag out a cover of a Debauchka tune called How It Ends. It's on a video game commercial. Just a cool sounding, moody, melancholy tune that we like to whip out every now and then. Yeah. So we don't really delve into the cover scene unless it's something that strikes us as maybe tongue-in-cheek, something that you wouldn't expect us to play. We might whip it out.
You said you had another Dizzy Hollow album that you were working on.
Yeah.
Tell us about the first album and tell us about the
The
album
first
coming
album
out.
is our debut album, just self-titled Dizzy Hollow. It's got 11 tracks on it, recorded with Greg Pierce. It's actually the second take of our debut album. The first album didn't go so well after way too much money spent, but we knew what we wanted to hear, and we just tried too hard to make it work, and it just didn't. It's just a waste of time. So we ditched the first effort and recorded I think a great sounding album. Got copies for sale everywhere. So gotten a fairly good response so far. We just a little more marketing, some more interviews, and all that. Maybe we'll get it going somewhere. The new one we haven't recorded yet, but we've got 6, 7 songs.
And the new one, we're taking a little bit different approach. We wrote a lot in the studio with the first one, because we were minus a bass player at the time.
Yeah. So Greg, the engineer, played bass and interpreted a lot of our songs in a different way, which actually
Help mold us.
Yeah, it pretty much helped us define our sound even more.
Yeah.
So now with this EP,
I'm super excited about these new songs. I think they're a lot more organic. I think, they came together just naturally. Just 5 different guys. Boom, they blossom when we're in the room. It's perfect.
Well, we found a great bassist too. That
Yeah,
helped us.
yeah.
I mean, you get that chemistry
Yeah.
together and get that going.
Well, I think that's what helped on the first album. Greg Pierce is a really good bassist. Just has a great ear for music, and he heard things. So now we have a permanent, member of the band who kind of approaches it the same way. He hears things in the music that, we necessarily wouldn't come up with. He just defines it even more. So.
What's ahead for Dizzy Hollow?
Hopefully a lot more shows.
Yeah.
We've been pretty well received at all the shows we've played, so it's an encouraging thing to have a good crowd, have a responsive, participating crowd. So hopefully a lot more shows, expand our reach a little bit. Do a little more record sales, and just see where it goes.
I mean, we never stop writing.
Yeah.
We're always writing. We could put out 5 albums, and I think we probably still have buckets of riffs and songs and ideas. I mean, I think that's really important to talk about too. I mean,
Yeah. We come in and just decide, hey, let's write tonight, and we don't leave until we have a new song.
Yeah.
Pretty well established. So it's recently a fairly quick process to come in and write a really cool song.
Yeah.
So that's encouraging as well. That gives us insight to what our future might be if we keep coming out with songs as fast as we do. There's really no stopping us. So.